Hi, this is Ed Hindson with The King is Coming. I want to give you a word of encouragement while you're dealing with either sequestering away during the coronavirus pandemic, or you're trying to open up again and decide, is it really safe to go do this, that, or the other? And depending on where you are, all the rules and suggestions are very, very different. But the Bible has a lot to say about giving us words of hope and encouragement. I've prepared something very special on our website. When you're finished watching this, I want to encourage you to go take a look at it as we deal with the whole issue of isolation. Is it really a gift from God or a judgment from God? But before we do that, I want to read to you from Psalm 90, a psalm, the only psalm, in fact, that was written by Moses, where he says in verse 12, "So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts to wisdom." That Hebrew word for wisdom is one of those kind of cough and spit Hebrew words, chokhmah, and it means a sense of wisdom, not just knowledge, but the practicality of dealing with life and the challenges of life. If anybody had to number his days, it was certainly Moses. He spent 40 years in the wilderness and was there for thousands of days while God was preparing him in Midian to get him ready to be the leader of the Exodus. And then he says in verse 14, "Oh, satisfy us early with your mercy." And that's the Hebrew word, and it's another one of those sounding words, chesed, the loving kindness of God, that we may rejoice and be glad all of our days. Teach us to count our days so that we make every day count for God. And then help us to rejoice in all of our days so that we're serving God faithfully, effectively, and you're accomplishing something for the cause of God, for eternal purposes during this time. In other words, don't waste the time just sitting at home. Make sure that you're using your time to make a difference. You may have said to yourself, if I had more time, one of these days I'll clean up the house. One of these days I'll write a letter. One of these days I'll write a book. One of these days I'll witness to my friends or whatever, or I'll study the Bible more effectively. Well, you've got plenty of time right now, so get to it. That's the idea. Teach us to number our days. And then in the next psalm, Psalm 91, verse 1 says, "He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High will abide under the shadow of the Almighty." That the presence of God is like a shadow protecting us from the sun of adversity and difficulty in our lives. In fact, that same Psalm 91, verse 9 says, "Because you have made the Lord your refuge, you will be exalted, and no evil will befall you, neither will any plague come nigh your dwelling." Verse 14 says, "Because he has set his love upon us, therefore I will deliver him and set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call on me, and I will answer him, and I will be with him in trouble, and I will deliver him." God's promise is his presence will be with us in every difficulty of life, and ultimately, he'll deliver us according to the purposes that he has for our lives. God has numbered our days. He knows exactly how long we're going to live. And in the meantime, he wants us to number our days so that we use every day faithfully and effectively to serve the Lord. What are you doing right now to make a difference for eternity? Not just to pass the time, but to use the time to the glory of God. The Bible reminds us these are days that God has given us as a gift. In my article that you can see on the website, I've listed 10 people that God put into a timeout, into isolation for a period of time, because he was preparing them for something far greater in the future. That can be true of you and me as well if we learn to number our days in isolation so that we can maximize our impact once we have the opportunity to reach out to the world. In fact, with modern technology, you can reach out to the world right now from where you are. Do it to the glory of God. God bless you.